This is Dateline Monday, November 13th, 2000. Tonight.
Hi, I'm your incredibly good-looking and smooth-talking TV host, Chris Hansen. Tonight, we'll be discussing the top story that has swept the nation and terrorized its citizens. We are talking, of course, of the Geneva murders. Yes, indeed, the murders. Well, tonight, I am glad to say that I have a blood-chilling and thrilling interview with the creator. Hello, Victor. Welcome to Dateline, NBC. Well, before we get started with the murders, I figured we'd talk about your background, in order to get more context as to what happened and why it happened. Would that be okay with you? No, Chris, that's quite all right. Well, my story is a humble one. I grew up on the countryside of Geneva with my family, pretty isolated, but as a boy I was very curious about the world around me and how it worked and planned to explore it. I was even planned to be married to my sister-cousin wife, Elizabeth. My mother used to say she was fairer than a garden rose among dark-leaved brambles. In a lot of ways that was true. She was the rose of my life, the light of my heart. Okay, so you're telling me that your own mother called unadoptable children dark shrubs, if I am mistaken, and please correct me if I am. To me, that is very objectifying and dehumanizing. I mean, even to Elizabeth, to be adopted only to be made your wife. I mean, according to John Stuart Mill, to be human is to make your own choices. How can Elizabeth do this with already being planned to be married to you? I mean, you're taking away her humanity, don't you think? I know for someone like you, Chris, it's very hard to understand, but I loved my sister-cousin wife. I wanted what was best for her, and I honestly believe what was best for her was me. Right, because her getting strangled to death by a monster is what was good for her. All right, moving on. My second question, well, when you first saw the monster, what was your initial thoughts? Why did you run? Why didn't you care for the very thing that you created, that you summoned to this earth? Again, Chris, you have to understand my upbringing and my natural inclination for what was around me. What's more great than constructing human life? And, well, when I answer your question, what my first initial reaction was when I saw him, it was disgust. I mean, before I even gave him life, he was ugly. But when his muscles and joints rendered capable of motion, it became such a thing as even Dante could not have conceived. He was hideous. How could I love something that was so despicably ugly? Victor, this is what interests me. According to the documents that I have read about the creature, he's a very capable man. He's an intellect, in fact. He's able to speak French. He's very well read. In fact, in his last interview, he said that he was able to understand the language more rapidly than the Arabian, who understood very little and conversed in broken accents. The Arabian being Safi. I mean, you're a smart man, Victor. Don't you know that Noam Chomsky's definition of what it means to be human is to be able to use language? I mean, when you were confronted by the monster, how were you not speechless by his ability to use language? I understand where you're coming from, Chris. And yes, I actually agree. The very fact that he is able to speak and can comprehend language is amazing. But at the end of the day, the tortures of hell are too mild a vengeance for thy crimes. Human or not, he needs to pay for what he has done. So then it's true, you don't believe the creature is human, correct? Chris, that's exactly what I'm saying. Great story. Compelling and rich. Well, that's gonna do it for us here at Dateline NBC News. Stay classy, St. Francis. I'm Chris Hansen?
2000. Tonight.
Hi, my name's Chris Hansen.
This is Dateline.